9 most disturbing scenes in video games. In the horror genre, there's something special about that moment. There are just times when horror is so perfectly distilled into a single moment that we've often come to associate those genre masterpieces with that one scene, whether it's the scene from that movie that's been burned into your head since childhood, or the passages from that book that you always wish you could not recite from memory. What's up guys, hello and welcome back to the channel. We are back with a new video, and this time we've brought 9 of the most disturbing scenes in video games for you. Number 1. Dead Space 2, the Noontech Diagnostic Machine. Given how terrifying the first 2 Dead Space games are, it's no surprise that the Noontech Diagnostic Machine is widely regarded as the series' most intimidating, frightening, and memorable sequence. However, how else would you describe a scene in which you're forced to carefully insert a massive needle into your character's eye? Since the genre's earliest on-screen days, eye trauma has been one of the most effective horror devices, and Dead Space 2 manages to escalate an already disturbing experience by forcing you to be one who sticks the needle in. Even the Dead Space creators questioned whether this sequence was excessive. Number 2. Silent Hill 3, The Mirror. You enter a filthy room and find yourself in front of a mirror. The blood in the reflection and the blood in the room begin to behave differently as the nearby basin begins to bleed. You begin to wonder what's going on and how you'll get out of this. Suddenly, locked room as the blood covers your reflection and creeps along the walls and floors. We love it when a game turns these obvious scares into a real threat, and this one is one of the best examples we've seen. The scene is terrifying enough on its own, but when you realize that the blood is a real threat and that you have to try to get out of this room, the pressure of this incredible moment really begins to build. Number 3. Resident Evil, the dog jumping through the window. For the sake of variety, we almost left this classic horror gaming moment off the list, but when it comes down to it, the moment the camera shifts in that famous Resident Evil hallway, just in time for you to see a dog jump through the foreground window, is a masterful scare. This moment terrified a generation of gamers who were still trying to understand how games could be so terrifying, and it's still terrifying to this day. The game's use of a sudden camera change to establish a new threat is that both behind and directly in front of the player is brilliant. Number 4. Silent Hill 2, Pyramid Head's Introduction. One of the most effective scares in horror is the old "what the F is that" scene. Few WTF moments in video game history can compare to the scene in Silent Hill 2 where we walk into a room and see the monster known as Pyramid Head violently assaulting mannequin creatures. When the sheer visual impact of the scene is enough to make your skin crawl, it is what it means in the context of Silent Hill 2's twisted story that makes it truly memorable. Silent Hill 2 excels at showing you the most disturbing things you've ever seen, then making it worse as you figure out what it means. This has to be the pinnacle of that series' horror approach. Number 5. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, The Falling Woman. If we wanted to go that route, we could fill the entire list with Fatal Frame moments, but The Falling Woman from Fatal Frame 2 is one of the series' absolute highlights. The Falling Woman is a mysterious figure who appears to have committed suicide and is forced to relive her death over and over again. Worse, her actions have left her with a twisted form that her spirit is now using to chase across the room. It's the combination of visual shock and emotional horror that makes this scare stand out, much like the Pyramid Head sequence. Everything about it is wrong, but the way that this game makes you want to do anything other than see what it is at the bottom of those stairs is masterful. Number 6. Alien Isolation, The Hiding Place Kill. You'll return to your favorite hiding spot in Alien Isolation at some point to avoid being discovered by the Xenomorph. At that point, the Xenomorph will rip the locker open and kill your character instantly, despite your best efforts to avoid screaming. Isolation subverted every expectation that we had about the relatively new, at the time, horror gaming trope of hiding from the stalker in such a blunt and memorable way with this scene. There's no part of you that expects the Xenomorph to be able to recognize you so quickly, and the moment it does, everything you thought you knew is called into question. Number 7. Amnesia, The Dark Descent, The Flooded Room. It's no exaggeration to say that Amnesia changed the horror game genre overnight, but the best sequence in the game has to be this incredible sequence in which you must navigate a flooded hallway occupied by an invisible monster. Are you sure you'll be able to spot its movements in time to take that risky step into its path? This sequence is terrifying on a conceptual level alone, but what we really liked about it is that it also serves as an elaborate physics puzzle that adds to an already terrifying scenario. Amnesia demonstrated how the future of horror would revolve around making you feel like you're truly part of the action, and this is the moment that demonstrated just how frightening and impressive that approach could be. Number 8. Outlast Whistleblower, The Groom. We're honestly at a loss for words to describe this situation without alarming innocent bystanders. Let us just say that the groom is completely obsessed with finding a bride. He has a problem because he's surrounded by men. As a result, he goes to unimaginable lengths to transform the victims he can find into as close to his ideal bride as possible. We're not big fans of the torture and violent exploitation style of horror because it feels like you're shooting fish in a barrel by simply showing people the most objectively disturbing thing they've ever seen. This game, on the other hand, takes that concept further than any other we've played. It entraps you into the worst nightmare scenario imaginable, leaving you powerless to determine how far it will go. Number 9. PT. Seeing Lisa in the hallway. While it's difficult to pick just one terrifying scene from PT to highlight as the scariest, we're confident in awarding that honor to a scene that we recently named one of the most horrifying images of all time, the first time you see Lisa in the hallway. There's a degree to which the image above tells you everything that you need to know about why this moment is frightening, but there's also something to be said for the context. It's one of the game's first scares, and it immediately warns you that whatever you've chosen to submit yourself will be far worse than you could have imagined. To put it another way, PT is arguably the scariest video game ever made, and this is the image we most commonly associate with it. That's it from our side. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and a thumbs up. Make sure you smash that subscribe button down below to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell icon beside it to be the first one to know when we upload a brand new video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.